car parking was very different in the 80s from what I remember. Now, I'm going to go there because I remember it mostly as a passenger sitting in the back seat. The smell of damp, petrol, concrete, and it was like a hammering as you went down the ramp. It was very loud, and I don't know if that was potholes or just what, but I remember just going down the ramp or up the ramp thinking, gosh, I don't know if this is my mum's car, but something doesn't smell right. And then also digging around for coins to pay in the machine every single time. My parents were never organised. Every time we had to pull up to the machine, wait what felt like half an hour to find the appropriate money. And then also the slow barrier opening either before or after you got in, and always thinking the car was going to be squashed underneath it. I also remember being told I'll only be 5 minutes waiting in the car, and my mum saying if a traffic warden comes, just say you're waiting for your mum, and then she'd run into Woolworths or something and come back. Also, I remember always trying to kind of spot the car. So my mum always used to have a Ford Fiesta when I was growing up, and I remember that thing of driving into the car park and trying to count how many Ford Fiestas I could see, and asking my mum to park near the other Ford Fiesta like it was some kind of club or community or something, like the cars spoke to each other. Forgetting where the car was parked, I remember frequently coming out of BHS, walking with my mum hand in hand, and then my mum saying, oh, do you remember where we parked the car? Like an 8-year-old would remember somehow. Yeah, just feeling the in-between feeling, not at home, not in the shop, and just waiting, really. And I think somehow better, because now every car park I go to, you can't pay with coins. You have to have an app. But there's about 5 different bloody apps. And trying to play the bingo game of what app is it when you enter a car park is quite just frustrating. Anyway, that's my car park memories for you all.
There's a lot of good memories there. Can I be bold enough to suggest there's one smell you missed out, and that is the smell of urine and pee that seemed to be around every, particularly multi-story car parks. Anywhere. Still to this day, there does seem to be a lack of a significant drop in the smell of pee because there's CCTV cameras around now. So I think some people decide not to have a leak in a multi-story car park. But for me, it was always omnipresent, particularly in the 80s and the 90s. Any multi-story car park had an awful smell of wee. The other thing that you mentioned that I think is absolutely bang on is we used to pay with coins. I mean, now, do you remember parking meters? Meters, where you used to, I mean, I can remember it used to be 20p for 15 minutes in London. That's how old I am. And you're absolutely right. You see, if you're a woman, and I don't want to overly stereotype here, you might have had a purse, right? Which is quite handy to keep coins in. Most blokes don't or never had purses. You'd have a wallet. So you would have that ritual when you'd go out the door, and I don't know where you kept yours, Tommy, but I used to have my pile of change on my bedside kind of chest of drawers by the bed. So when you kind of get ready to go out somewhere, you'd make sure you had a pile of coins that would go in your trouser pocket or the pocket of your jeans. And you always had to remember that you might end up parking somewhere and you need 20p's or pound coins for the parking meter. And finally, absolutely bang on the money with apps. I use a car park in London at London Bridge, and it is app only, and you have to scan your QR code when you go in, and it plays this little noise, like this jubilant fanfare when you scan your QR code. It's an NCP car park, so you scan your QR code under the machine, and it goes, and it's just like, all right, calm down, and the barrier goes up, and then you have to find a space, and you do all of that, and then when you leave, you have to find your QR code again to scan to get out, and it goes, thank you. And it's like, it's fine. Parking has changed. You're absolutely correct. And I'm also... And
that's a swizz, because before you used to be able to give your ticket to somebody else as you left that had like 20 minutes left on it. Now you pay on your app. Yeah. They always get money from every single person that drives in. It's such a swizz.
Yeah, and parking has changed, hasn't it, in terms of how you would park.
Yes.
You know, my mother could never reverse park ever in her entire life. No. She was so bad at parking, quite admittedly, that sometimes it wouldn't be worth taking the car because she'd parked so far away from the destination we could have walked it.
Well, I have an Auntie Vera who couldn't reverse the car, period.
Oh.
And so Uncle Don had to bash out the far wall because they inherited some money and bought their first car, which she learned to drive. He had to knock out the front wall in the garage and put doors on that and concrete over the rest of the back garden so that she could drive headfirst into the garage and drive headfirst out of it.
That's excellent.
And then
Wow.
do a U-turn in front of the kitchen
Yeah.
drive out the garden gates. Now there's a phobia about reversing.
What you could have done, sorry to interrupt, is you could have had like a, they've got this in the basement of Broadcasting House in London. No one can see this. I'm doing a circling motion with my finger.
You look like you're stirring your teeth.
It is, isn't it? It's so tight
Yeah.
in the underground car park at Broadcasting House that there's actually a turntable you drive onto, and and then it rotates because you can't actually turn your car around. There's not enough space, so you go in. And you park on literally, if you imagine a big metal disc, which is completely flush against the concrete of the ground.
This is BBC.
This is BBC.
This is so BBC.
It is actually, isn't it? And we paid for it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're paying for Tony Blackburn to go in.
Oh, no, he'd put a needle in it and see if it was strawberry fields.
And you drive onto it, and then in order to turn around, then the disc just rotates 180 degrees and puts you back in the right direction. That's what your uncle and auntie needed.
Yes, well, they were a bit eccentric, and I love them dearly for it. Uncle Don is the man who called his black Labrador, and he lived in Norbury, which borders Brixton, and he used to walk his dog at dusk on Norbury Common, bordering Brixton, and he actually called his dog the N-word.
Oh.
And he used to stand there, and I used to go and stay with them, and I remember standing in the middle of Norbury Common looking down on the flashing lights of Brixton, and my Uncle Don shouting, "Here!" I'm not going to say it. You have to imagine the word.
Yeah.
And I knew that was silly. Parking is stressful. So I went to Waitrose one day, and a large part of the car park was taped off with emergency tape,
Yes.
and an ambulance was leaving,
Oh.
and the ambulance contained the body,
Oh.
Oh.
and it was of an elderly shopper who'd had a cardiac event, trying to, I'm not going to laugh because it's not funny, trying to reverse her car into a parking space.
Yeah.
It was too much for her.
Yeah.
And she gave up the ghost.
Car park spaces have got a lot smaller, haven't
They
they?
have.
They seem, I mean, they're so narrow now, even though cars have got bigger over the
Bigger
decades,
doors.
centuries.
That's the thing. They've got bigger doors, haven't they?
And if you've got some guy who's got it always tends to be men, a Chelsea tractor, a big 4x4 that's not really built to be driven around London, they can barely get outside of it. They're parking next to someone else. But is the Waitrose the one near here? That is a hazardous car park, car park, because you got old Doris in there who's 87, no disrespect, not being ageist, who probably shouldn't be behind the wheel of a car, who will just shoot out, she'll reverse out. I've seen so many near misses in that car park.
Yeah, no, I believe car doors are getting bigger. But the thing is, you park in a space, and there's two cars either side of you, and you're getting out, whether it's the passenger side or the driver's side. You're so careful not to clunk against the door of the person's car next to you.
Yeah, and you have to breathe in, don't you, as you get
do,
out?
and you have to, and if you've got an artificial hip, you just can't do the manoeuvre. You cannot do the manoeuvre. So sometimes Jane lets me out before she parks.
Yeah, that's wise.
Yeah.
That is wise.
Yeah.
It's about the only way.
Yeah.
But then parking. I can remember when you used to be able to drink and drive. I mean, it was the wrong thing to do, but it wasn't so outlawed, quite rightly, as it is now. And there were occasions when I would look out of my top floor flat window down at the parking area on the Sunday morning after a Saturday night in town driving around. And I would look at my car parked, and I couldn't work out which side of the little road it thought it was parked against, because it was sort of diagonally in the middle, and I'd obviously bombed up and just got out.
So you don't have to answer this question, but it's the obvious one to ask.
I will.
So how many?
Oh, I used to drive home from a nightclub I worked in, where I would be at 6 pints.
Oh, God.
Through the evening,
Bloody
and I kept an eye patch in the glove compartment. Go on, Duncan, you've been there. Why did I need an eye patch?
So you can focus properly.
I was seeing double.
Yeah.
And I didn't know which white line it was.
Oh, God.
I know.
Oh, my God.
I know. We've moved on to...
You didn't have to go over any bridges, did you?
Now, the Chappaquiddick thing has finally been solved. He was driving. A police car went past. Hayley, it's a long time ago. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but I'm interested. Go on.
Okay, well, the brother of JFK,
Right.
Ted Kennedy, was destined to be a president of the United States, but he was a bit of a Jack the Lad. And after an election thing, he and 5 of his mates in the Democrats went to a holiday chalet in a place called Chappaquiddick Island, I think, with 6 of the young female interns who'd worked on the campaign, who they called the Boiler Girls. Kennedy left early with one of them called Mary Jo Kopechne, and the next morning they found his car submerged next to a bridge. This is why I think Duncan mentioned bridges, and she was obviously drowned. And initially Kennedy said that he was driving. They went off the little wooden bridge at a lawful 20 miles an hour. He was able to get out, and he made numerous attempts to dive back down in the dark and rescue her. And then he went back and swam across to the mainland and went to his hotel room and went to sleep. That's his story. That's not really President of the United States caliber, is it? That kind of tosh.
No.
And for years, nobody knew what really happened. And what really happened was this. He saw a police car. The police car stopped and started to reverse back. He panicked because he was out with a young lady and it was pretty obvious that they were having sex. So he roared off in the car, turned a corner, jumped out, told her to drive on, and if she got stopped, to say that she was alone. He hid in the bushes and then walked to the river and swam across and had no idea she was dead because she was drunk and driving a Lincoln Continental or something, and she owned a Volkswagen Beetle, so she died. And if he told the truth, he'd probably have got away with it and would have been President of the United States. But because he lied so hopelessly, his political ambitions... He became a senator for about 50 years. But that is what is now known happened, because they found the copper who saw them. And why he didn't come forward at the time, probably strong-armed not to... Sorry, was that sufficiently interesting?
Well, I hadn't heard that story before. No, there wasn't a reason why I laughed. No, I just presumed because you lived in South London or South West London, the bridge might have been involved, that's all. And bridges are very much in my mind at the moment because Hammersmith Bridge is closed.
Is it?
Well, yeah, you know the nice one, the kind of slightly ornate one.
Yeah.
And there's also another one, Albert Bridge has been closed temporarily.
Why are these
as well.
bridges being closed?
Oh, the Hammersmith one has been closed for yonks because there's some cracks. It's been closed for years. Albert Bridge, they found something wrong with the sturdy bits. So if you ever have to drive in London, you realise that is quite problematic if you ever have to go over the Thames.
Well, one of my favourite lines from Shaun in the Dead is when this nerd... they say, well, get your car. And he said, no, I don't think you need a car if you live in London, which is beautifully nerdy. Do you drive in town, Hayley?
No, not central. No, I haven't got the... do you know what? You need a lot of, I don't know.
Testosterone.
You need yes, you do, because everyone cuts you up and...
Cigars. I do a lot of driving in central London. It's the only time I smoke mini cigars.
Why is that?
Because it's a bloody nightmare. Bit of Cuban leaf or cigar leaf is quite useful to reduce the stress levels because no one looks and people.
No, they don't.
It's a nightmare.
And also all the Uber drivers now, that makes it worse because you've got 10 times the amount of taxis on the road, don't you? Before it just used to be the black taxis, but now literally everyone thinks they can be a taxi driver, which is why accidents happen because none of them have any training, do they? It's not like if you're a black cab you have to spend years training and doing the knowledge and everything. I could be an Uber driver if I wanted to, which is quite a scary thought, really.
Roll into that Lime bikes.
Yes.
People on scooters. Nightmare.
Oh, my God.
Literally, you can't look around enough when you're driving in London.
Oh, and those awful things that go around Covent Garden, the flashy fairy light thing.
The
I don't know what they're called, like, the tuk-tuk type things. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Really? I mean, some of the people that drive those, you think, gosh,
I might have mentioned trams previously on this pod. I love a tram. Trams are the future. Trams are just, they're the past and they're the future.
Well, they don't have drivers, though, do they?
Yes, they
the
do.
ones I'm thinking of. Oh, okay. Because some of them don't, like the ones in Croydon don't have drivers, which scares me a little bit.
But the one in Edinburgh is great. It goes from Edinburgh Airport all the way down to Leith, and you can stop off on various places along the way. It's just a stroke of genius. That way you don't need so much traffic on the roads. They're perfect. We need more trams.
Last time, the subject of ewers came up.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about old broadcasting equipment and reminiscing about it. It was a question that was posed by a listener.
Adam.
And it's just occurred to me, because Hayley, you'd never heard of a ewer, and that's fair enough. And Duncan and I didn't really know what it stood for.
No.
It's just occurred to me, I don't know what's an Uber? What is it?
know.
Is it, because there's a line in Parenthood where the boy embarrasses Steve Martin, his dad, because he sees a girl and goes, "Dad, Uber," like that. And his dad goes, "I told you not to do that." But that's the only time I've ever heard the word Uber.
Well, according to the net...
Oh, go on, you've just done it as well. No, we've both got the same. The German word Uber means above or beyond or super, signifying a desire to offer a service superior to traditional taxis.
Clark Kent is Uberman.
Yes.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's clear that one up. The thing that I was going to ask you two guys about is this. We've done First Kiss, but you can do it every week. It's always good. What about your first dance? The first time you took the bull by the horns and went out onto that wooden floor with maybe the band playing, but more likely the DJ assaulting our ears with something.
I remember it very clearly.
Go on.
Do you want me to go first? So it would have been a school disco, and it was 1985, and I only know it's that year because the song that we danced to was riding high in the pop charts at the time. And obviously, liking my pop music, I still remember the year it came out. And it would have been Durrington High School, and the school disco was done in the hall / the gym, because it used to double up. It was a multi-faceted or a multi-facility room. And I can still smell the wooden floor polish. There weren't links of timber. They were like, to get bricks.
Yes.
Wooden bricks making up the floor, and the smell of rubber. Yeah. Not from excitable boys hoping they might get lucky with something in their wallet, but the smell of rubber from gym shoes. And it was Move Closer by Phyllis Nelson.
Nice one.
That was the song.
I like that
It
song.
was a slow dance.
Yeah.
Your first
It's a slow
dance.
dance. I thought, is this not what we're talking about? I thought it was a slow dance.
No.
Oh.
That's where your mind always goes. And I have admired you.
I've got
for
to
that
take it where I can get it.
Single-mindedness.
Yeah.
But, I just meant your first time on the dance floor. But no, your first
Slow dance.
Snoggy dance.
Well, it was with Alison Mitchell.
Alison, I've never met an Alison I didn't like.
Yeah. Ali.
Or Ali.
I suspect she's an Ali now.
Yeah.
And it was it wasn't really dancing. It was more of a bit of a shuffle and a bit of a kind of like holding on to each other. And it was.
How old?
Well, 85, 13, 14.
Okay. But do you also remember the first time you actually walked out there and you had to jig about? Like,
No.
You don't remember it?
I would consign that to the bin of memories I don't want to hold on to. I can't dance. I'm useless.
No, well, you could do false memory syndrome. You could see yourself as John Travolta.
No.
How about
We'd
you?
never
Oh,
believe him.
actually, I do. Well, I do have a memory.
Oh, go on.
So we used to go on holiday. It's sort of like like Club Med holidays. Me and my mum, because my dad died when I was a lot younger, and they always used to do these kind of. It's like it'd be in the evening in the bar, and there might be a band on or something on stage, and then the DJ would like take over, and he'd have a little booth somewhere. And it would always be songs like Superman and Agadoo.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, I
stuff
love
like
it.
that. And of course, the kind of Club Med reps used to dance on stage or in the dance floor with each other, and then bring drag people up from around the dance floor. So I'd be sitting there, my Coca-Cola, my mum would be sitting there with a half of Spanish lager. And now I've got a vivid flashback that we were made to get on the dance floor and bloody agadoo. Oh my God.
When I go on holiday, we do all the aqua gym thing, which is where you do aerobics in the pool.
Okay.
I'm 44 and I still do all this. You must do it when you go on holiday about lunchtime, after everyone's had their first or second drink of the day. You've had your Dutch courage, and then the people that work at the hotel, like the holiday folks, the reps, they come around and they drag you off, like literally sometimes physically drag you into the pool, and then they start playing all the cheesy music, and everyone that's like at home, a librarian and an accountant, suddenly wakes up and is doing all those silly dances in the pool. Oh, it's fantastic.
I want to know, Hayley, and I think the world does.
Oh, go on.
The first time you walked out onto that wooden floor, and I'm going to have a punt here, I think it was with 2 or 3 or 4 of your girlfriends, and you put your handbags down in the middle and danced around.
Oh, we did, because it was awkward. And you know the reason you do that is because the first club I went to, I think, was called China Whites or something like that in Soho.
Oh, yeah, that's famous.
That rings a bell.
Yeah.
I don't think it still exists now, but when I was growing up, it was a place to be seen. And the problem was, even in those days, you had a little bag, but you weren't particularly secure enough to leave it at the table where you were sitting with your drinks, because you probably wouldn't get it back type thing. Do you know what I mean? Because you're in central London, and it's not that it's like nowadays with phones they get snatched. I think it was more of a general thing that, somebody's going to nick my purse, you know? So you had to take it on the dance floor with you, and you couldn't really hold it because that just looks really silly. So the only place you can do it is actually more of a logical thing, in the sense that no one's going to snatch a handbag when it's on the floor in front of all your mates. They're just not.
I did not know that there was that degree of analysis.
I mean that's the reason I did it, and my friends did it, and so I mean there was a thing to it. But I do remember the squeaky floors. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it was because of all the spilt drinks. That's what it was. And then also you're worrying that not that it was squeaky, but are you going to fall flat on your face? Because one wrong move, seriously, because it's so dark in these places, isn't it? You can't see what you're doing, and you've got to take your drink with you. Yeah. And the loud chatter and the laughing before anyone got up to dance, it was like you were egging each other on. It was like a competitive thing.
And giggles.
Yes, it was. It was probably horrible at the time, but quite enjoyable too. And then the music would skip briefly every so often, I remember, and everyone would be like looking at each other thinking, has it stopped? Is it going to start again? Because I guess in those days it was probably cassettes or CDs, where now I suppose it's all done perfectly on a computer, isn't it? I mean,
what, in a nightclub?
I have no idea. Yeah.
No, in the old days, it would have been records. It would have been vinyl.
Oh, record. I'm not that old.
Oh.
Come on.
Well, yeah.
Blimey.
My first dance was to an orchestra, so that dates me even more.
Exactly.
It was a Moonlight Serenade.
I like Glenn Miller, actually.
I like Glenn Miller.
And I also remember loads of just men or boys probably lining up at the sides with their back against the walls. And you kind of thinking, eyeing you up, but also it becoming a bit of a girls' night out almost, because the boys would never dance to the fast music anyway. And it just ended up being a big girls' night out. It was actually quite fun. I remember kind of at the end of the night when the lights went up and they went on very 3 o'clock, that was it in the morning. I remember it was always 3 a.m. I think they're all-nighters now. But at the time it was 3 o'clock, and literally there was no warning. Literally just all the lights would go on, and suddenly you'd be like, oh my God.
You are bringing back so many memories. And what's triggered something in my mind due to what you said is you talked about it being really dark in some of these places. And certainly and you know where I grew up, Hayley, don't you?
Worthing.
Thank you.
Did they have nightclubs there?
Well,
I can't imagine they did.
Oh, you'd be surprised. We had one on the pier that was called Rutherford's that was very, very cool for a bit of time. It's at the end of Worthing Pier. We had Illusions, which was by the railway station. There was another one, I think it was called Area 51, that was on the way from the railway station.
Area 51?
Yeah, I know. All of these
What a name.
funny
Brilliant.
funny creatures in
It's
it.
a good name, actually. For
Yeah.
But anyway, carry on.
Love it.
I remember once, so Illusions was by the station, and Illusions was a good nightclub for one of my favourite nightclubs. Not that I'm a big nightclubber, but I liked it for a number of reasons. One, there was a very good pub next door, so you didn't have too far to go. Two, it was by the railway station, so you could get the train into town, go to the pub, and then go to the nightclub. It also had a big taxi rank as well, because it was the railway station, which is solid at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Round the corner, you had a Worthing institution, which was Uncle Jim's kebab shop.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice.
So, it was one of my favourite nightclubs, if there is such a thing. But the memory you triggered in my mind is I once went there during the day when I was working. Oh God, what was I doing? It must have been something radio or journalistic related. And I was in the nightclub at like 11:30 in the morning, and I was looking around because normally it's a bit sparkly and very dark. It was a dump.
Yeah.
It was a serious dump.
Yeah.
I mean, there was
Also, I bet you thought it was really small.
yeah.
I remember going to one in the light, and it actually was no bigger than my living room. And I thought somehow there's like 100 teenagers in here every night.
You're right.
How?
You're right. And the decor was interesting because you don't get to really see it in the, at 1:30 in the morning when you're strutting your funky stuff. When the daylight, bits of black gaffer tape on the wall holding things up. And I was really struck by this. I thought, this is extraordinary. But yeah, that was my one.
Oh, and the ladies in the toilets. I don't know if you had it in the men's, but there was always a lady that sat there all night. And if you gave her 20p, she'd give you a spritz of perfume, or you could take a lipstick or a hairbrush.
What was she there for? Not security, surely.
No, literally just to be like an on-demand, like, I don't know, like a makeup
make you feel
counter
safe.
almost. I'm sure they had that in the men's, didn't they? Didn't they have like a little counter near the sinks?
Men's toilet that had a man working there once, and it was in a hotel in Lima. And I went down to it, and as I went in, this bloke jumped up out of his seat, and he was wearing a proper uniform, a waistcoat, a bow tie, and the whole thing. And he escorted me to my stall. So, you have stalls in men's loos, Hayley? So he escorted me to a stall. He marched ahead of me and then got to a stall and indicated it with his hand. Da-da, this one, sir, in Spanish. So I stood there peeing, and he stood right next to me with his hands behind his back, staring dead ahead at the tiles. Okay.
Oh.
And then so I, shook the drips and zipped up. And he again indicated that he was escorting me, and he escorted me to a wash basin and then ran the taps for me and then stepped back and did the same thing, demonstrated that the wash basin was now my province, and he stood there with his hands behind his back, again looking out into the middle distance.
Oh, my word.
And I didn't have any change because I didn't think I was going to need money going to because he wanted a tip, obviously. I think I went back and had a wee I didn't need, just to leave in 20 pesetas, which is the sort of thing
Brilliant.
to do, isn't it? Yeah.
Pesetas. That's going back a bit, isn't it?
Pesetas.
When did it all change?
I think I don't think they used the euro in Peru.
No, this is true.
I think it's probably still. Well, actually, it wasn't pesetas. I think it was pesos. But
It is peso in Peru, isn't it?
well, do you know what? Everything was black market, and it was US dollars.
Yeah. And never go wrong with dollars.
No. A handful of $20 bills could get you anything and anywhere and anyone in Peru.
So my dad used to say as a traveller when he was working in the merchant navy, cigarettes, dollars. That's all you need.
Absolutely.
What about your first dance, Tommy? Have you got one?
Well, I remember it vividly. We used to go on holiday from London, where we lived, to a place called Dunoon in Argyllshire, which overlooked Holy Loch, which was the US Navy's nuclear submarine base. And my auntie, great auntie, had a hotel in a village up the road from Dunoon called Anellen. And she had a granddaughter called Anne. And Anne was particularly beautiful, gentle, genteel, actually. She crooked her little finger when she drank her tea.
Nice.
And she corrected me when I said I said something along the lines of, that bloke doesn't know how to pull a pint. And she went, we don't pull a pint in Argyll, we pour a glass. I thought,
Oh, my God, yeah.
Anyway, I was 14 and I
Getting
suddenly
rather
discovered
excited here.
it had been arranged that she and I were going to a dance. I'd never danced. I'd never been to a dance. I'm going to a dance with my second cousin Anne, who's gorgeous. And we went to this joint in Dunoon, which was populated entirely by huge American sailors because they ran Dunoon. There weren't any chip shops in Dunoon. There were just burger joints. And everybody drove Cadillacs. It was, understandable. So we're in there, and these Americans are acting like... Have you ever seen a film with Gene Kelly called On the Town, where these three sailors paint New York red? It was a bit like that. Only my cousin, Anne, she said, I suppose you'll have to have a dance at one point. So I said, yeah, okay. Terrified, heart pounding. How could I do anything but make a fool of myself? And then she waited, and they played a slow one, and she went, no. You see?
That told you.
And then she went, just wait. And then the slow one ended, and a bop came on, a boppy thing came on.
Yeah.
And she went, that's much better. And out we went. And I jigged around doing the moves that I'd seen on Top of the Pops, because that was the only indication I had of how you dance in a disco or a nightclub or whatever like that. So I jigged around, and that was it. And we went home together, and then on the very last day of the holiday, we're 14, remember, she and I went for a little quick walk down by the Clyde, and she said, I understand from your parents that you're coming back again next year. And I said, oh, yes, good. And she went, yes, because I have to tell you this before you go. I've fallen in love with you. Now. So, within a matter of a few days, my first dance...
Yeah.
And my first I love you.
Wow.
She meant it.
Wow.
Aww.
She meant it. And we drove all the way back down to London, 600 miles. All I could do was keep repeating in the back seat under my breath, I've fallen in love with you.
Aww. That's so cute.
What happened, Tom?
We went back, and I said, first chance I got, I said, do you remember when I was here last, as we were about to depart? You said, I've fallen in love with you. And do you know what she said? Honestly, yes, well, we were all a lot younger then.
Oh.
I know. And I've still never quite been able to piece it together. But she remains a beautiful woman. She never married. She, like all of my family, went into teaching and became a very successful headmistress. And it's one of those ones that you wonder, isn't it? You do wonder. We've all got somebody that we wonder about, that we met and don't we?
The what ifs.
The what ifs.
Or the one who got away.
Yes.
The one who got away.
The trouble with Facebook is that you can see where they are now if you want to, probably. Unless they've got a very, very common name. You see, I was just looking up Julian Morrow, Hayley.
Right.
Before we got together, because you passed on a text that the rambling nonsense has...
Oh, yes. Oh, and do you know that person?
No, I don't, but I looked up Julian Morrow. Julian, thank you for your text. Nice idea, but Duncan will bear this out. Phone-ins just don't happen anymore, really. But anyway.
Should we explain that Julian commented on our Facebook page and they said that Tommy needs to do a live stream phone-in?
Yeah, I refer you to the answer I gave earlier, as the Prime Minister always says at the bit on a Wednesday lunchtime. So I looked up Julian Morrow, and there are too many of them, so I can't establish whether he's somebody that perhaps I once knew or worked with, or who used to correspond with me or whatever. So hello, Julian. Obviously, you're listening again. See, that's the kind of curiosity that marks us out as being, besides many other things, you, Hayley, you, Duncan, and myself, that profession that dare not speak its name. Journalists. Oh, we're journalists.
Well, I think it's a good idea doing a live stream and a phone-in, but anyway.
Right. Led me back to that. Well, I'll have to look into the technology, which is my way of saying...
No.
We were very young back then.
We had the best days. There you are.
Yes. Well, I think we've just about exhausted that line of conversation. Are we giving out information?
Oh, let me find the...
Can I leave that to you?
You can WhatsApp us. We have a WhatsApp number, so you can send text messages to that number if you like, but also voice notes. And if you want to do a voice note, and you know how to do that, I'm sure, we'll play it out on the pod. So the WhatsApp number is 07405 341 500. 07405 341 500. And if you've got something a bit chunkier, if you'd like to email it, we have an email address which is rambling retro nonsense. That's all one word. ramblingretrononsense@gmail.com.
Nice. Thanks for your time. Talk soon.